You're watching once again a YouTube video presentation of the University of Wyoming Center on Aging. I'm Scott Veach. I'm your host, and on this program we'll be discussing topics of interest for caregivers of loved ones with dementia. We hope that you will subscribe to the channel and you'll hit that thumbs up like button. Both of those actions help the channel to grow and allow us to reach more people. And if you'll tap that notification bell, you'll be alerted each time we upload a new program. And now, this is Once Again. My guest today is Theresa Robinett, an old friend. We're on the Wyoming Dementia Together staff, and she is an occupational therapist. She teaches at Casper College, and she also has a background in dementia care. Theresa, thanks so much for being with us again. We're going to talk about all the technological and, well, a lot of the technological advances and programs that are available for the caregivers, specifically as it related to your presentation to our group in October of 2025. You started off back then talking about smartphones, and I guess that's a pretty good place to start because just about everybody has a smartphone.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right, Scott. That's why I started the presentation there. Because when I really think about, what people need to do in a day or living their life or things like that, I always don't want to add something, if that makes sense. I know it's a weird way to say it, but anytime we can not add another device, or if maybe there's something that already exists that we already own, let's use that to its fullest ability. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the coolest features that I've discovered in my time working with assistive technology and different things like that are some of the accessibility features that are just built into that smartphone you just buy off the shelf, whether it's Apple or Android. I'm personally just more familiar with Apple because that's what I have. That seems to be kind of what we see the most when we're doing our assistive technology labs here at Casper College and things like that. But that's not to say Android doesn't either. But probably the biggest thing about smartphones for our caregivers I want them to know about is it's a feature that Apple has put out, and it's called assistive access. And I know that when we Dementia Together, we've put together some resources and things like that. And if anyone's interested, they can reach out to YCOA and we can help make those connections. But assistive access is just built in to an Apple phone. And the whole goal of it is to lessen the cognitive load of that smartphone. So essentially, you're going to take just that basic Apple phone off the shelf. Somebody could set it up for their loved one, put it on assistive access, and you could limit the apps that are available on it. You could limit it down to where there's maybe only just phone calls, weather, texting, news, do things like that. You can even control some of the contacts coming in and out. So if you're concerned about like spam calls to your loved one and like that, but it just simplifies the whole thing. You'll get nice big buttons on the phone. And yeah, just kind of can pare it down for the essentials. And I feel like that's one of those things that folks just need to know more about because more than likely they already have this piece of technology in their home and they could just make it work a little bit better for themselves. So.
And you talked about Apple or Android, and so all of these services are available on both.
Yeah. So on Apple, it's called that assistive access.
Mm-hmm.
Android, they call it easy mode. And I just have not had the opportunity to play around with it as much just because I haven't had access. Somebody hasn't given me their Android phone to play with it like I can
Yeah,
my
yeah.
phone. And then when we have set this up with my students and things like that, we just happen to always be on an Apple product. But no, Android does have one, but it's just called easy mode if somebody's looking for it or looking for tutorials. I would even often recommend if you're curious about this, YouTube. Just if folks can get on YouTube and search assistive access, iOS or Apple, there are hundreds of videos that will walk you through how to set that up on that phone. So.
We also hear a lot these days about the use of AI, Chat GPT, all that kind of stuff, and I was completely unaware that all of that could be used to help the caregiver. Man, that's a huge advancement, isn't it?
It's huge and it's amazing. I mean, just how fast this whole AI trajectory is changing our lives, really. We were just having that conversation today about just the advancement and how there's just going to be this trickle effect and innovation and things like that. But I really want our caregivers, I mean, everybody's crunched for time, right? That's definitely a very,
Yeah.
very present thing, but especially our caregivers. right? Anybody that somebody's dependent on them and they're caring for someone, their time is even more precious than we can even imagine. And so I would just encourage caregivers to be really open to looking at things like ChatGPT or Google Gemini. I mostly talk about GPT because, again, that's the one I'm most familiar with and the one I've played around with the most. But think about it as being like your own personal assistant. Hey, how does this sound? Or help me write this thank you. Help me send a quick text talking about, this difficult topic. And it'll just help you save so much time. I also encourage caregivers to think about, as you're using ChatGPT to be that personal assistant, hey, can you help me make a grocery list? Can you help me write this email? I even saw ChatGPT, and I haven't quite got it to work seamlessly. But I mean, it can help you with recipes. It can help you with then turning those recipes into a cooking list. And I know, they're working on even like be able to send that list to your Walmart shopping cart. That's a huge time saver for folks that are trying to manage a household and care. I think our caregivers could use that for medication management. And there's so many things within ChatGPT that we don't do. Another thing I encourage folks, there's another part on ChatGPT called agent mode. And agent mode allows ChatGPT to kind of act even more autonomously than it does to do like deep research, right? And kind of provide reminders or organization help. So like you could ask it like, hey, will you make sure and send me a reminder on this date and time? But yeah, it's really simple. You can either access ChatGPT as a web browser or download the app. But yeah, I would really encourage, I think our caregivers, anyone crunch for time, but I think it can be a big help for folks just trying to be really intentional with their time.
You talked about using it for medication management. How would that work?
Yeah. So like I would take, for example, almost like a little problem solving. So say like my loved one takes medicine A, B, and C in the morning, but then we only need to take C and D at night, or whatever that is. I think you could even take into ChatGPT those instructions that are given to you when you get it from the pharmacist and then say, hey, help me plan these out for the week. And it'll make you a nice table. It can make you different things. It can make you something to print off. It can help you make labels. It could just even help you make a visual chart too. So that's the cool thing that we're talking about too at Casper College is using AI personally for people. Like maybe you're more of a visual person. You have ChatGPT take that information the pharmacist is giving you and have it help you make that visual. Maybe you are more of an audio learner. Maybe take notes at the doctor's office or things like that, but then you can make it into an audio file to listen to. Just breaking down more complex tasks into really simple tasks is something that all these AI platforms are really, really good at.
These are primarily for the caregiver, right? They seem pretty advanced for someone who has had a dementia diagnosis.
Yeah, it definitely could be. And so where that's coming from too, AI is doing some interesting things then for say that individual with dementia. And I think I talked about in the presentation about New Day AI. And New Day AI is using a really well-researched study. And essentially it's like you kind of visit with a person, right? On a screen like this.
Hmm.
And it is an AI chatbot, but it's a person. And it's programmed, though, to ask questions that have been well researched and reviewed to help support that person with dementia. So when that person with dementia is maybe asking some of those repetitive questions, some of those things like that, that as a caregiver can be really taxing, right? Having some of those same conversations. There's been some really good evidence showing that using some of these like chat bots and video and telehealth almost
Right.
kind of formats could be really beneficial. So.
We're talking with Theresa Robinett. She is an occupational therapist. She also teaches at Casper College, and she has a background in dementia care. We're talking about the newest technology available to caregivers and the use of AI. Let's talk about, I don't know, maybe we can call it hardware. I'm not sure. But one of the things you mentioned previously was the use of meta glasses. I thought those were fascinating. What's that all about?
Yeah, I do too. I think the meta glasses are so fascinating. I even bought a pair for my husband. And so he just wears them and he's used them and he's experienced just an improved quality of life because it's this really smart wearable technology. Meta glasses have Meta AI built in that you can ask it questions. Almost the same, like we're talking about other AI, like it can take pictures, it can take, and then from that picture that you take, you could use that for gathering data. Like I've heard of some people, taking a picture with their Meta glasses of like, here's what's in my fridge. What can I cook with this?
Oh,
Um,
wow.
can help answer some of those questions. They've also been really, really helpful for our low vision population, and even the blind population has given a lot of feedback to Meta on how to make these glasses work better for folks with low vision or blindness. And so essentially it's kind of taken this vision and language technology. I've seen situations where you can use it to read text and it'll read it to you out loud. The speakers in them are very good. You can hear them quite well. So I would think even if maybe somebody had hearing aids, it'll work. They work off Bluetooth. So I haven't played around with it, but I would imagine there's maybe even a way to set the glasses up to work with a hearing aid, much as many of our
Wow.
hearing aids do. But yeah, it'll give audio descriptions for folks. It'll give them a description about what's going on around. It does voice commands. So it's almost like you can have Bluetooth wherever you go now. You can do hands-free calling and things like that. So I would imagine if we gave that to a loved one with dementia, nice thing you could set up the glasses and it could say, hey, call so-and-so, and it would do it. And they don't have to, have any tactile, or they can just do it on voice commands. It's also set up to work with another app called Be My Eyes. And that's an app designed for the blind community. So kind of pivoting a little bit from the conversation we're having, but still many of our folks may have some vision issues too. But Be My Eyes essentially allows you to connect with a sighted person. And so then you can have an interaction that sighted person can give cues and give directions. So yeah, the Meta glasses, I think, as kind of more of a mainstream, they look cool, right? You wouldn't know you're really wearing any other piece of
Hmm.
technology. I even
You
think
can incorporate prescription lenses into those too, can't you?
yeah,
Yes.
folks can
Yeah.
order
Hmm.
prescriptions. I could even see using it too, as like a reminder. Hey, did I close that gate? Did I shut the door? You could take a quick picture with your Meta glasses. Then when you're out and about, oh yeah, okay, I did do that. Or if you're on vacation, you could check things that way too. So just another like quick little way to help remind you of what's
I
going
think it'd be really cool also. You could look at a tree and say, what kind of tree is this, right? Or what kind of rock is this, or flower, or whatever.
yeah, yeah, and it'll access Meta AI and it'll tell you what it is.
Where do you get those? Where do you pick them up?
We just ordered ours online. You just can go,
Really?
I
Okay.
think in a Google search, just look for Meta glasses. The whole Meta world, buying more of this wearable technology and things like that. But I'm sure even some of our local places, like probably Best Buy, I'm not sure I would think you can get them, but yeah, online shopping, somebody can do a quick search and find those online. So
We have been talking about the latest technology available for the caregiver of a loved one living with dementia. Our guest is Theresa Robinett, occupational therapist. She teaches at Casper College, and she also has a background in dementia care. This is actually part one of a two-parter. We've got so much more to talk about, and we're going to be doing that in part two, and we invite you to stay tuned for that coming up on the next edition of Once Again. You've been watching Once Again, a YouTube video presentation of the University of Wyoming Center on Aging. We hope, if you haven't done so already, that you'll subscribe to the channel and hit that thumbs up like button. Both of those actions help the channel to grow and allow us to reach more people. And if you'll tap that notification bell, you'll be alerted each time we upload a new video. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Scott Veach. We'll see you again next time.